Alright, so today we are going to save money on soap. Yay! Alright, so in my kitchen, I have a handy dandy little squeeze thing, or pump, and I find that when I squeeze out of the original dish soap bottle, I get a whole lot more on my sponge, and I waste a lot of it. So the little pump just does a tiny bit, and that makes a big difference on saving on my soap, and I don't have to go into the cupboard every time or have the big bottle out. And have my hands get covering it and messing it. It's just available. It's easy for me, and I like easy. So welcome to Just 2020, where we're trying to make your life easier. And today, I'm going to try to see if I can take it one step further by using a foaming soap container that I used to have for hand soap. I rinsed it out, washed it out a few times, made sure the pump was all clean and totally empty of the hand soap. And I put dish soap in here. So I have about an inch of dish soap in here. And then the rest goes with boiled water. And so I've boiled the water already. I'm going to pour it in. You have to make sure that you don't fill it up past the bottom of that little piece. So I like to just fill it up, shake it a bit, give it a good kind of round once over, and then you can start pumping it and seeing how many bubbles are there. If it's enough bubbles for you or too much. I've done this with hand soap many times because some of those ones that I buy, this is really foamy, good stuff. The ones that I buy quite often are too strong for me. I love the stuff, but they're just too strong. And I had bought one bottle from Pampered Chef, and it kept tipping over all the time. So I found the store-bought ones were easier to keep upright. And so I've bought a few of them when they're on super sale. And then I ended up doing like half to a quarter of the original stuff that was in there for the strength of it, and then just adding a no-name, no-smell hand soap and boiled water. And so I've made it last a lot longer, go a lot further for the hand soap. And so I thought I'd see if I can add a bit more water here. I didn't have it totally filled up. So I see that this is going to work great for doing dishes. The bubbles. See, that's why you don't overfill it too full. See, it goes bubbling over the sides. You got to be careful. And that is going to make a big difference, because if you just, and I can use that for hand soap too, which is going to be fantastic. If I've got really greasy hands from working out, doing something greasy, gross, or cleaning up chicken, doing something that's greasy food, greasy outside, greasy anything. If I have just one dish that I want to do, I can use this foam for on my scrub brush or on my sponge. And yes, I make sure that my sponge dries every time. Sits here and dries. So I make sure that that does well. And another thing that I can do, since it works so well with hand soaps, and now it looks like it's going to work absolutely awesome with dish soap, I've done it with shampoo. And you obviously have to make sure you've used some of it first, or you have an old empty bottle. And especially if you have kids that love to make a mess or use a pile, and they just go through it anyways, and no matter how much yelling you do at them, they're gonna just do what they're gonna do because they're kids and you love them and they mean well, but they want to play, or they're gonna do. So I just added a bit, and it always makes sure it's boiled water. Make sure it boils well, and then it's cooled down before you do it, obviously. No melting the containers in plastic. But I found that it actually, if I added just a quarter cup, eighth of a cup, eighth of a cup to one that's like 300 milliliters, and a quarter cup to one that's, 700 milliliters. Just that tiny bit would actually make it lather easier and better when I was shampooing. You're supposed to actually let your hair be wet for a count of 20 before you start adding soap, so that the soap doesn't just stick to your hair, that it starts lathering right away. And that made me use less soap. And then adding just a tiny bit of water to it, even if you measure a fingerful or two in your container and then mix it up, it doesn't make it really watery, soupy, messy, that it's just gonna be a waste and feel like you're got cheap crap product. But it does make it go a lot further and take a lot longer to use up the bottle, because it lathers up really well, so you don't actually need as much. And then I found it just worked better. It saves a lot of money, and for those people who like to get the last drop, you can add a little bit of just plain water and shake it and mix it and get that last bit of soap out. I've also done it for conditioner, because you can see conditioner comes out at quite a really thick consistency, right? And it's fantastic, except it doesn't always spread very well. So I find with my long hair, I'm using a boatload of it, and it's still just really thick where I've put it on, but it doesn't seem to spread through. And so I've done it where I just add a tiny bit. So I do measure it in these, for these ones. And just with the conditioner, just a tiny bit. This one here, this bottle doesn't have much in it. So just a tiny bit will make it, you shake it, and it doesn't make it watery, but it makes the consistency a little thinner and a little bit more watery. And you don't even notice the difference hardly, but it will spread a whole lot better. See, it still stands up on its own, and I've only added a tiny bit, so I can add more to get the consistency that I like. But it just moves a whole lot more, and it'll spread a whole lot easier. So I ended up probably using half as much conditioner in my hair as I used to. Same results, or better, because it's not globby and oily-ish. So I'm still getting the results I want. And I'm not feeling like I'm cheaping out on the product. It still stands up, still looks and works. So you don't want it too watery, but enough that you notice there's just enough difference that it moves in the bottle better. And if it's moving a bit better in the bottle, it will spread on your hair a lot further. And so, especially with kids and hubby, they do a big glob of it and you're like, oh, you only need half of that. And next time they do the same thing. But for this, I used maybe, I didn't add a whole lot, and my bottle wasn't full. It was like a quarter full. So you can probably use a quarter cup for an eighth of a cup for a 300 milliliter bottle. I don't know. You play with it and see what works for you. I tend to go caution on the use less. Just notice a little bit of a difference. Try it out. See how you like the difference, if you notice any difference. And make sure that you don't make it too watery and wasteful. And that's my sump pump, sorry. But, and then see what works for you and see what you like. Because I know I've bought cheap shampoos and conditioners and I'm like, oh, what a waste of money and a waste of time and blah, blah, blah. And it's just annoying because you're using like 10 times more and it just pisses you off. So just add a little bit of boiled water and then shake it. Make sure you have a consistency that you're thinking might be all right. Go on the thicker side of your thought pattern, and then use it and see if you find it spreads better and it works better and it works through the hair better. And then if you've noticed that it's a bit of a difference, but maybe you'd like to go a step further, you can try it a little further, or even just have a a part bit in the bottle to get until you get your consistency that you know you're gonna like. And when you buy the new one, you can put a little bit in the old bottle, add some boiled water to both, play with it, and see if it saves you a lot of money. Because I've found that I go through a lot less conditioner now, and shampoos, and less soap in the kitchen. And I'm going to try this with laundry soap as well. And I've used it for fabric softener too, the liquid fabric softener, before I had it in my dryer. Because a lot of times you just get in the habit of using more, and the markings on the lid that you're using are very hard to see. So quite often you end up putting more in than what you need to. And a lot of people think that more is better, but sometimes that's the problem that ends up clogging your washing machine. And fabric softener will mold in there. Soap does get all gummy up and oily and just stops it from functioning as well. And if you have too much soap, your front load washing machines will actually take longer to do the rinse cycle and to clean it out, because it's trying to get rid of all those bubbles. So the new ones are meant to use less soap and less bubbles. And a lot of people are so used to it smelling so strong, they're like, oh, I need more. Or they don't clean their washing machine and they don't wipe it out, that front end loader piece, that rubber part. If you don't wipe that out, it'll mold, and then all of your stuff is going to stink. And so you're just adding more pretty smell to hide the stinky smell. And it doesn't mean anything's getting any cleaner, because now you've got that mold cycling through. So double check and make sure you're cleaning your washing machine. I use vinegar in mine. I've got a video about that, so look for that one, about how vinegar, I can use it on my appliances to clean them. But make sure that your soaps, you don't have to waste a pile of it and use a pile. I found I don't need the strong smelling stuff as much as most people like to have. And I'm much happier allergy-wise without it. I use a little bit still. I still use a lot of product. But I've cut down on a lot of product, and I've noticed that I'm feeling healthier and I can breathe better, and I actually notice other smells better. So I notice that other people's smells are really strong, so maybe that's a negative, but all those perfumes can give you headaches, and they've linked a lot of the perfumes and fake chemicals to, and chemicals in your laundry stuff to cancers and bad things. So the less chemicals you're using, I think the better and healthier you'll be. And if you can make your, shampoo and conditioner last another 4 or 5, 10 showers by adding a little boiled water, why wouldn't you? If you're somebody who lives in, summertime, you're at the trailer, or you're traveling in RVs and stuff like that, then you don't want to run your sink and your shower as long, because you only have so much water. So you're conserving water by making all these bubbles and adding it to it. And you could actually do this sort of deal with the foaming pump for your shampoos. Your kids might absolutely love it. And you might have to refill it more often, but you might save yourself a pile of money on shampoo. You never know. Body washes, can you do that with them? I use bar soap instead of body wash. Pardon me. I use bar soap instead of body wash because I find that lasts a pile longer. And I have my own little container of it, so nobody else touches it. I have a little holder for mine. And so nobody else uses it. Nobody else touches it. We've all got our own. You use what you like. I use what I like. But I've actually started using the Lush shampoo hair bar, which is, I found fantastic. I found one that's a moisturizing one and more natural. And it was from Lush, and it had a little holder. I bought the metal little dish for it. I actually stuck it to the lid of it. And so I just swirl it around a few times and I scrub my hair, and I only have to scrub it once instead of twice to get those oils out and to get it clean. And my head is less itchy. My scalp is super less itchy, and my hair is just as clean, if not better. And I'm using less waste product. And one of those bars lasts just as long as a bottle of shampoo. So for me, it's more environmentally friendly to use that bar, which I actually like better than a lot of the shampoos I've ever tried. And it does better because I don't have the itchy scalp anymore. And they have all sorts of them, actually, really cool ones. And I found that it made a big difference. So I think I'm going to be using the Lush bar shampoo from now on. And I think I've had it since before Christmas, so I've had it over a month, and I hardly see the difference of how much I've used. So it's going to last me a long time. And I don't have the plastic waste to throw out. So I'm still probably going to use these conditioners, because I haven't tried their conditioner yet, and I'm really not sure how I feel about that. I don't know yet. But I'm trying to be a little more environmentally friendly and save money while I'm at it. So if you found that these tips and tricks helped you, give me a comment, give me a like. I'd appreciate it. If you think they're totally not for you, or you found something that works better for you, then you can comment and let me know too, because that'd be great to know. Great to hear your opinions. As long as you say it pleasantly, please, and thank you. If you want to follow me on just2020.com, you can read what I have to say and check out all of my social media sites and links there, which are YouTube, Instagram, and Anchor Podcasts. So I hope this has been helpful to you. And when you're using this, make sure you actually boil that water, okay? Because if you don't boil the water, then I don't know if it gets funky or not, but it might. I don't know. So I've used the boiled water for fabric softener and shampoo and conditioner and hand soap and kitchen soap now. And you could probably use it for your body wash to make it last a little longer in one of those pumps, or shampoos or body washes in the pump, or if you're out in the RV, or if your kids are using piles of it and you want to see if you can waste less. And I'm going to try it in the laundry soap. And I don't know how many other uses it could be. We'll see. So hopefully this has helped you. Have a great day. Happy gisting. Get your shit together.